Dalton Johnson. Frank Douglas we have.
Here.
From Ward 2, Greg Smith. Ward 3, Jaquina Foreman. And Ohan Karagosian. Ward 4, Abraham Colon. And Evelyn Rodriguez. Ward 5, Ramon Mora. And Johnny Dye. Ward 6, Eliza Halsey. Helen Martin Dawson.
Here.
Ward 7, Nadine Wall.
Here.
Alberta Witherspoon.
Here.
Ward 8, Carmen Rodriguez. Chris Randall.
I am here.
Ward 9, Diane Casella. Ward 10, David Striever.
Yeah.
Ward 10, Richard Lyons. Ward 11, Patty DePalma. Vincent Marotoli. No. Ward 12, Tina Jandruski. Ward 12, George Page. Ward 13, Alfred Honorado.
Present.
Ward 13, Linda Davis.
Here.
Ward 14, Rafael Ramos. Ward 14, Jose Torres. Ward 15, Wilda Garayua. Ward 15, Frank Redente. Ward 16, Medalia Castro. And Celestino Cordova. Ward 17, Edie Macri. Al Paolo Sr. Ward 18, Nick Colavolpi.
Here.
And Matt Bailey. Ward 19, Matthew Nemerson. Kimberly Edwards. Ward 20, Tanya Marie Smith. Ward 21, Gwendolyn Newton. Ward 21, Louis Bosley. 22, Cordelia Thorpe. 22, Gina Phillips. 23, Anne Green. Cheryl Lee Ravenel. 24, Gary Stewart.
Here.
25, Barbara Segaloff. Also 25, Kathleen Krolak. 26, Patricia King. Daryl Brooks. 27, Karen Amores. Andy Orfici. 28, Don Walker. Jess Corbett. 29, Gaylord Bourne. Audrey Tyson.
Here.
And 30, Cassandra Lang.
Here.
Honda Smith.
Here.
Great, thank you very much, Andrea. Should there be any proposals for any votes? However, I called this meeting tonight, as I have the last 5 times this came around that I've been chairman, to have a meeting that really is solely focused on the process for running for town committee. We're a pretty unique city in the state of Connecticut because I think we are the only town where the town committee doesn't endorse itself, so to speak. And I think that's a really important feature of the New Haven Democratic Town Committee. It means that it's not just a small group of people getting together and endorsing themselves and then going home. In fact, it's an open primary system. Well, whether if you've never been on the town committee or you've been on the town committee for 10 terms, you have to go out and get your signatures. You have to go out and do your petitions. Everybody runs on an equal footing. And I think that's an important feature of our town committee, and perhaps it is one of the reasons why we're more diverse, younger, and have turned over more. When I came on town committee in, I hate to admit this, but it was 1989, and I was less than 40, how's that? And I was, but I was close to 40. I was the youngest person there, by a long shot, the youngest person there. And everybody knows that our town committee today really has people who represent every decade of adult life, from people in their 20s to people in their 70s. And I believe that in the big picture and at the end of the day, that's the strength of the New Haven Democratic Town Committee, that it can embrace so many different kinds of people, different neighborhoods, different ethnic groups, different ages. And that's the strength of this organization. So I hope that in every ward, active Democrats seek out the opportunity to run for town committee, and that it's a real opportunity for people to get involved in the process. I've invited a couple of folks here today to help us with the process, and there'll be plenty of time to ask questions, and including the more detailed kind. Sharon Ferrucci, our registrar, is with us here this evening. And from the city clerk's office?
Vincent Daniels.
Vincent Daniels is here with us tonight to go through both the petitioning and primary process, and I invited the city clerk because there's always a financial component to this and requirements for anybody who runs for office. And those change often enough that I would not even try myself to speak on those because they change often enough. But I just can't tell you how happy I am to see such a big crowd here tonight, because it really demonstrates the vibrancy of the New Haven Democratic Party. People care about what happens in this city. They care about the quality of life. They care about the issues that are in front of us, whether they're the issues in our neighborhood of public safety, or or citywide issues, education, streets and pedestrian friendliness, businesses, jobs. People have come together here today because there's a lot of unity among Democrats about those things. And what we have ahead of us is the opportunity to elect a Democratic Town Committee that will be active. This is a presidential year, so we have a lot of work to do. That being said, let me introduce again Sharon Ferrucci to talk about the process ahead of us. I'm going to take the seat.
To get on the ballot for a town committee primary is,
Talk louder, Sharon.
you know, we should have gotten a mic. You know what I could do? Could I come over here maybe?
This is your building, not mine.
I know, I should have. They emailed me this maybe about 2 weeks ago. Printed it, read it, everything is the same. So for those of you who have done this in the past, it's okay, okay? It's still 5% of the registered Democrats living within your ward. You can run together, it's called a slate, or you can run as an individual opposing. The bottom line is on Tuesday, March 6th, when everyone goes to the polls, and I mean Democrats, they can vote for any two, for as many names have been designated or have qualified to be on that particular ballot, in that particular ward, okay? But before we can get your name on that ballot, there's a process. Some of you have already applied for a consent form, but if you haven't, I'm going to just pass these around, and if you haven't taken one, take one. I'll start with Tina. Both the contestants should really sign it together as a slip, and that's how your name will appear on this page. Is everyone familiar with that type of page? It hasn't changed at all.
That would be alphabetical.
Oh,
The names are listed alphabetically, or
I didn't get that yet. Yeah,
that?
we will. Yeah, we thought they don't tell us that, but we figured on the petition it's only fair to do it alphabetically if you're running as a slate.
Right.
So the slate has to say if you have to get 70 signatures or
Yeah.
two people. Oh, you got it. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but no, that's good because see, I didn't make notes. I'm just going from my old age and how things haven't changed and whatever I miss on, just ask that question of me, okay? I've read some things, but like I say, the rules have not changed. It's still 5%. It's still time of filing. If there's an exception to that, and I'll go into that later. Okay, that happened a couple years ago, so you're still required to get 20 signatures on a page. I will give you more than enough pages to make it work for you, okay? If you're running as a slate, you and your team, go at it. Split it up. It's 5% of the Democrats in the city and your ward, and that's most Democrats. Did you have a question?
Yep.
I can't hear you.
5%, is that per ticket or per individual?
That's your ward. The registered Democrats residing in your ward,
Right.
it's 5% of that ticket.
Right, but say 2 people are running.
They can split it up. You're a slate.
Okay.
Okay? Makes it easy when you're a slate. Anybody can run. There could be 5 individuals running, but they don't want to. I don't want to run with Audrey. You're on your own. You know, I might want to run with her. That's how it works. Slate has preference over individuals that take out a consent form. If we're running as a slate, my name. If you're running alone, it'll be just your name. Okay, this is double-sided. I really don't like it to reproduce what I'm giving you from my office. We'll be more than glad, if you think you need more than what I'm giving you, we'll be more than glad to make you copies. So whatever you feel is gonna work for you. Take it down. You know how that works too, right?
Karen.
Circulate. As long as you're not a candidate running, okay? All right, so any Democrat that lives within the city can help. That law changed about 4 or 5 years ago.
But a candidate can circulate for themselves in their
Sure.
own ward.
If you're a petitioning candidate, you can circulate your petition. 9 times out of 10, that's what happens when you are running for an office. It doesn't really matter whether it's this one or organic or for mayor. You know, sometimes that grassroots old-time politics is good. Knock on the door, you're the candidate. A lot of people don't even know what town committee means. You want to be board chairman? What's a board chairman? I mean, over the years, I've received calls about board chairman. Is there a book? Are there rules? I don't think there is. It's just that someone that wants to get involved on a board level and maybe make an improvement or get involved to make things work for people that live next door or someone who has a problem in that particular board, whatever. It is very political and it takes up time to be on a board. Right, Honorado?
Sharon,
It's my turn.
and
Yes,
one
Mom.
individual run two slates?
No.
No, there's only one slate on a petition. You and someone else.
But-
An individual
And I run
runs
with someone
alone.
else And then also with someone
I
else?
can't hear you.
And I run with someone else?
Oh, no.
And also with someone else?
No, you can only run once. You take out a consent form. You're signing a consent form that you want to run in, say, Ward 13,
So when you
right?
vote, are you voting for each individual or are you?
Any two.
Right.
There could be 10 names, but there's only 2. You can only vote for 2.
No, what I'm
Whether
saying-
there's 3 people running or 5 people running, your name will only appear once.
But do you mean you split your vote?
Yeah, that's
You
what
don't
you're
have to
talking about,
vote
split.
for both
Oh, you're
persons
talking
on the
split?
Yeah.
There is no split. It's vote for any 2. See, there's no row A. There's no party endorsed here.
Right.
So it starts from B and it goes down.
And how are they delineated? Is it by alphabetical order, or is it by
No,
the
it's
time
by
you turn in the
slate.
petitions?
Number 1 has preference over an individual.
Yeah, but what if it's two?
If
what
somebody
it's two?
files the day after the petitions are issued, and you're back at our office at 9 o'clock or within that time frame, then it's amount of signatures, and it will be alphabetical after that, depending on the time of filing. That's only the day after. After that, it's time of filing.
Right. So if there's 2 slates and they both turn them in before time, how is it determined?
Amount of signatures
Okay.
within that time frame.
Right.
If I'm outside my office, I'm sitting here since 8 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
If you show up at quarter
I
to
will.
9.
I will.
Which happened. That only happened.
It was
That
me.
happened. So we were very fair about it, right, Chris?
Yeah,
And
you
things
were.
worked out just fine. And it ended up being the amount of signatures that the other slate had over. Was it you or the other slate?
Well, we had more signatures, but they turned it in before us.
And I think you
I
were
think way before, like 3 minutes.
3 minutes, but you were way before. And, well, whatever it was, the ruling came down from the SOS with the fairness. But it
Well,
worked
we
out
won, I
where
mean.
4 people on the ballot, only 2 people, they were able to vote for 2 people. Our machines are, well, now the scanners are so locked, so tested, but we can only vote for 2, otherwise the ballot would kick out. Yeah.
Thank you.
The slate, whether it's running, the slate is running, nobody else is running, you get your signatures in, primary comes, you have a primary or you just stay home? Okay, I just wanted to make sure you, that wasn't done.
The deadline is, I don't know, what's the deadline? February 1st?
February 1.
February 1st, so I'm going to be issuing these on the 18th. Okay? Try to get the consent forms a little early, if you can, yes?
When do you hand out the petition?
The 18th.
18th, okay.
They're due back on
They're due back on the 1st by 4 o'clock. But all that information is on the instruction page. So when you do come in, if you've never done it before, I do a one-on-one with you. Any questions that aren't being answered tonight, I'd be more than glad to sit down with you. I've done that in the past with all kids. Okay? And at that time, on your instruction sheet, it will show the 5% of what you actually need to qualify. And I will give you a newly printed list of the Democrats in your district. If you go by that list, piece of paper, if it doesn't snow, if the weather stays as nice as it is, it's
What's the deadline for the consent?
well, if I want to run, and I know they have to be in on the 1st, I can come in January 31st. Get a consent form, fill it out, they might wait for my petitions, so they tell me come back, I'll come back. If I get my signatures in before the deadline, I'll get on the ballot. So you can apply for a consent form right up until. Okay, there's no deadline for a consent form to be filed without one.
Can people share and turn in their consent form tonight?
Yeah, I'd love to have it tonight. What else? Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. Good.
You're good?
Yes. Come on, some questions.
I think it would be useful if you had
As Sally said, we do have the calendar on the website for town committee. Anybody who's running for town committee, the calendar is on the website. It does give all the dates and the times specifically so that everyone knows what they need to do and what they need to have in. Everything's on our website at citynewhaven.com. We try to make everything, try to put everything at everybody's fingertips. Our office, what you'll need to know from us is that we normally work with the State Election Enforcement Commission. In order for anybody to run for a town committee, they have to register Form 1, the State Election Enforcement Commission Form 1. On that form, you can tell us whether you're going to be exempt, which means that you don't plan on raising any more funds than $1,000. If you plan on raising more than $1,000, you will not be exempt. You will have to file the form, and you will have to file all the financial reports to come after that. Anybody who is exempt, who does file exempt, does not have to worry about those financial forms. As I said, all the forms are on our website, as well as the links to the State Election Enforcement Commission. I didn't bring any paperwork for anybody to see today because, like I said, all that information is at your fingertips.
Is it also available though for folks who may not have internet, may not have access? Is it available in your office?
Yes, it is available in our office. If you do not have access to the internet, please do not hesitate to give us a call, and we will make sure to get you copies of whatever you need.
How soon do you need to file? I mean, in this process, let's say I go get my consent form today. Do I have to go to your office right away, or is it when I finish petitioning, or?
Honestly, as soon as possible. You can do it when you finish petitioning, but if you want to, you could. If you want to run for town committee, I would probably get that information in as soon as possible to our office. As I said, if you do not plan on raising over $1,000, you are exempt. So you do not have to file. There's 2 spots on the form where you say you're exempt or not exempt. If you do not have to, if you're not raising that much money, please file exempt.
Is it $2,000 if it's a slate of 2 people, or is it always just 1,000?
Always just 1,000.
Could a candidate be a treasurer of their own campaign, or they need a separate person to do that?
If you plan on raising over $1,000, then you have to have a separate treasurer. And some people run for deputy treasurer. It's really up to you.
Form number again?
The form number is form number 1. After that, anybody who plans on raising over $1,000 has to file SEEC Form 20.
That's if you change your mind. Let's say it's 3 weeks into the campaign and you realize you have the opportunity or more to raise more than $1,000. Can I change my status?
In that case, yes, you can. You can file an amended Form 1 and just bring that into our office, and you can and you'll be raising money.
The form won't be filed electronically or the computer.
It has to be brought in by hand. We normally give you a stamped copy of at least the first page so you know you came in. Yes, sir.
If you turn in your petition and then find out 2 days later that you have more people that want to sign on, what do you do?
That has nothing to do with our the financial process. If you want to run for town committee, you have to file the registration form. If you
I'm
don't,
saying if you turn in your petition
Yeah.
with all your names, and then 2 days later, Bob and Sally come back in town that have been away, and they want to sign the petition. Can they get on the petition, add it on after?
Sharon, that's a
right,
question.
that's
I
something
didn't
for
ask.
Sharon. That's a question for Sharon, actually.
What'd you say?
Turn in the petitions, and then if you have somebody else that wants to sign your petition, do you have to turn in another petition? Is the door closed on you? I submit my petitions
Before the deadline, never.
Before the deadline. It can be a rolling process.
No.
It can be a rolling
You
process.
can continuously bring in your pages. If you hire, if you're out there and you're getting signatures and he's helping, it's not fair to him or him to deny them. Say, I already brought my name. You bring in whatever anyone has done for you. Okay? Even after I certify what you've given me, I will, within the next week, certify the rest of the pages. But I would like you to know you made it, but I still want all your petition pages.
So Sharon, if you have,
Want to speak up because everyone's questions really
It might be
benefit
the same.
everybody here.
So my question is, if you needed 70 signatures, and I have like 10 different people out getting signatures for me, and you got the 70, but I still have people coming in, will you
Bring
know,
them in.
when you know, like, okay, Jeanette, you're at your 70,
Yes.
and then I'm now officially on the ballot at that point.
I make your day, I tell you you're official. Yes. After I check it.
So you're
Whatever I
sure
check,
because if they're,
yeah. After I check them, because I check them and then I'll certify
so
what's out.
if you got 10 today, another 15 tomorrow, okay.
Yeah, that happened. Like last year, we had a huge primary in September. But during the petition process, there were people all over the city circulating. So whenever somebody came in, we just give them a receipt, clock it in, so everybody. Oh yeah, that's what we have. So everybody that's taken the time out to do this, to knock on doors, to get signatures. Whether I say I'm going to help you, I only get 2 names. The name should be counted. Okay? But don't forget, on the back of the petition page, you have to have everything notarized. Everybody knows that, right? Don't come knocking, don't come in our office unless it's the back of your petition. But I will go over this in detail when you do come to my office, that every petition page has to be notarized.
Medalia.
Yes. A couple of questions for
Now,
those that
speak
don't
up.
know, for those that don't know, with the town city clerk's office, if you're doing the ABs, just for everybody to hear, being that you're a person who's running, like with register of voters, you can circulate, but with the ABs, I want for somebody from the town city clerk, can a candidate fill out applications for a person who's voting by AB, absentee?
A candidate can help someone to fill out absentee ballot application. After that, that's all the candidate can do. They have no more involvement with that application or the ballot to come after that. That's my next part. Sorry. Absentee ballots. Please try to get all the forms in as soon as possible. It just helps the office move a little bit more smoothly if we can get everything in on time or before that.
We can get in, just come to your office and get it.
Once you, yes, as soon as you know that you're running for a town committee or you're helping someone on a town committee, come into our office. We will give you the absentee ballot forms, or you can get the absentee ballot forms offline as well. You can distribute them and have them and make sure that they get back into our office as soon as possible so that we can start our process of making sure the absentee ballots get to the people on time. Now the primary is March 6th, so you definitely want to have all the absentee ballot applications in way beforehand.
What's the deadline for an absentee ballot?
Absentee ballot is right up until the day before the election. So normally, on March 6th, once the polls open, we can no longer accept absentee ballots. We can accept absentee ballots, I believe, the day of that election, but they can only be brought in by a police officer. The absentee ballot is or by mail.
No. By 10 o'clock a.m.
The absentee ballot is or by mail.
No. By 10 o'clock a.m.
Puts their name here, their address. They have to be a registered Democrat. Unaffiliated or something. You cannot accept that.
Right, we've had people get their petitions turned away. We had somebody who had his cousin from New Hampshire, albeit a Democrat, but circulated, but that wasn't good because they were from New Hampshire. So that's why I wanted us to identify that it needs to be a Democrat who resides within the city limits of New Haven circulating, but they do not have to be in your ward. Honda?
Divorce process?
No, that's why I started out with what makes one, and a lot of people have joined us. One of the things that's very unique about New Haven's town committee election process is there are no endorsements. That's why everybody petitions. Normally, a lot of people are familiar with elections. Normally, when the all-demanded candidate gets endorsed, he or she doesn't need to do petitions. Only people who are challenging. But in the town committee process, as a letter I sent out said, our bylaws are very specific that there shall be no endorsements for town committee. It's really an open process for everyone to participate in, and that's why Chris Randall was bringing up, you get the top row on the ballot if you're the first people to bring your petitions back. And there are, various rules around these things. But that's why I'm glad there's so many people here tonight, because this is a lot of information, and again, when you go downtown, Sharon and her staff is going to work with you. Vince and his staff is going to work with you. But I want to try to make this, get this information out to the public as best as we can. So the big crowd we have here today will really help disseminate that throughout the city. I saw a few other hands, Alderman Jackson.
Can we fax the form to them? Have them send the form back?
Consent form.
Is that a hard question for me? Is that a hard question or what?
That's a hard question.
My
That's
book's
why I have you
upstairs.
here, Sharon.
Andrea, my book's upstairs. What's the question? What? Can I fax something to somebody? Did we ever do
Fax
that?
a form.
Susan Weissowitz leave?
To the person. They send it, fax it back.
I get it back, fine.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Everybody hear that?
Sure that was back here, Andrew.
Everybody, you heard it?
Sergio, come over here so you can hear the question. A consent form. Anybody, well, let me just tell you one thing. The consent form can be picked up by anybody and returned by anyone.
You don't have to have a
But
written
if you were,
signature.
oh yes, they have to
Well,
return.
then my answer is no then.
Yeah.
The answer is no. It was a trick question.
But the trick question, it has to be notarized. Getting back to this form, you gonna fill it out?
That, a lot of the ward chairs already notary, you cannot,
I'll get it.
when you do your petition, you cannot notarize your own paper, you gotta bring it to somebody else.
That's right, you cannot notarize your own paper. Many of you might be a notary, but you cannot notarize your own signatures.
She's bringing up a lot of good points, and she's been the physician group.
Right, so there's folks here who've done this a lot of times and have had to figure this out along the way. But again, I want to reassure people that these are things you will work out, because the most important things right now is to know about the consent forms and the dates for the petitioning. Because this is all mandated by state statute. These aren't Sharon's rules, they're not party rules. They're mandated by Marty Looney, our state secretary. But could you stand up, please, alders, because I'm going to miss some of you, and I don't want to miss you. And George Perez was already standing, so I will point him out at the back. Hello, George.